car stackers. Car stackers are becoming more common in Sydney now, and there's all various shapes and sizes. I showed you a few photos of the various types of car stackers, and we also had a bit of chat about escalators as well. So why bother having an escalator when you've got lifts? What's the benefit of an escalator over a lift? And the answer is that escalators, no waiting time, so you can constantly move people. It's open, they can still look around and do their window shopping as they're moving around. Okay? But the main thing about escalators is that there's no waiting time. So it's good for constant large traffic flow. Okay. Okay. So I think that'll do us for revision. I think we've covered just about everything we need for revision. Maybe I should have a bit of a chat about what you can expect in the final exam. Okay. So the final exam, I think it's 3 hours, isn't it? Yeah. 3-hour exam. It's broken into about 6 questions. Okay. Each question is on a major topic. Okay. And each major topic is broken into subsection questions. Okay, so you've probably figured out now that I don't like to read verbal diarrhea. Okay, so I've tried to make the questions very specific. Okay, so when you're looking at a question, if it's worth 1 or 2 marks, okay, there's probably 1 or 2 key points that I'm looking for. Okay, so let me just repeat again. There's about 6 questions. Each question is roughly on a topic, a major topic that we've discussed in class. Each question is roughly equal to the same amount. They're not all exactly the same. They're all between 15 and 20 marks. Okay? But each question is broken into subsections. So there'll be a question on, let me think, don't hold me to this, I'm just thinking off the top of my head without giving anything away. Sewerage. And then I'll say, discuss the requirements, or discuss where you would find a vent pipe and the importance of a vent pipe. Okay? So I'm looking for the answer to something like that would be, it's at the end of the mains, but it's not the last connection. Okay, so it's very close to the end, but it's not right at the end. It vents into the roofs, above the roof space, and its purpose is to aerate the line. Okay, so air can flow through and flow out the vent, but it also allows air to flow in if necessary, so that the waste can flow away without sucking the traps in the bathrooms out. Okay, so that will be one subset, and then the other subsection might be, say, discuss when you would use a reflux valve and how a reflux valve works. Okay, or I might give you another part of the question which says just do a simple sewer diagram. Okay, which is worth a couple of marks. So as you're going through it, be mindful that each question has subsections. Go through, make sure you space your time appropriately for the questions. So work out, okay, well I've got to spend an equal amount of time on these 6 questions. So it's roughly 20 minutes, half an hour a question. And of this half an hour, there's 3 main subsections here, and they're all worth roughly equal marks, so I've got to spend 10 minutes on each. Okay, and if you don't know one, and it's just useless, or I'll maybe put some energy into the other ones, but try and answer all the questions if you can. You should have plenty of time, in my opinion, to stop, think about what you're going to write, and then have a considered approach, and then write it. And by the way, I also get annoyed when I'm reading something and it's like, panic, rush, scribble, oh, the shivers, that's all wrong, cross it all out, put it down here, and how do we go here? I've got another 200 to mark here, and trying to figure this guy's out. So, I believe you've got enough time to carefully think about your answers, and then write it nice and clear and easy for me to mark and understand. Just keep in mind, when I'm marking so many of these, if I can't understand your writing, how long do you think I spend trying to understand your writing? An hour? Yeah. Talk to my mate. So what do you think this is? Look at that, isn't that funny? Yeah, look at that. No, I don't do that. I haven't got time to do that. So you've got to make sure. I'm talking to about 2% of you who really messy. And usually when it's messy, it's because you don't know what you're doing. It's neat. Oh no, I don't know what I'm doing. Messy. So don't do that. Okay. So there shouldn't be any major surprises in the test. I think we've covered all of it pretty well. There might be one or two questions in there, not worth big marks, but one or two just to suss out the people that are a bit more switched on and the people who turned up to class and actually understood stuff. Okay, but I think we've got most of it covered. Yeah, my only tip would be don't panic and rush, just stop and think, because I can guarantee tonight we've covered everything for sure. Okay, and if you've turned up to class, everything's covered without a doubt. Okay, you just got to think of, especially the overseas students. Okay, because English is the second language, it can be a bit difficult understanding the questions. Make sure you're spending the time to understand the question. Okay. Yeah, but other than that, I think that's all I can really tell. Any questions on the exam that I can sort of share with the class? Yeah?
Have you done revision for electrical?
Yeah. Have I done revision for electrical? Yes. I didn't? Oh, let's do electrical. Thank you for that. Very good. I'd expect you to know, you've got to know the difference between 240 volt and 415 volt. Okay? You've got to know the difference between 240 and 415. You've got to know how to tell the difference and also why you need the different ones. Okay, so remember I said this is your power pole in the street. If you look at a power pole in the street, there's 4 wires. Okay, and as you go down the street and you look into each house, there'll be 1 wire which goes to each house. So this wire goes to each house. That's the neutral. As you go down the street, this wire will go to one house, then the next house will have 1 wire, then the next house will have 1 wire. So every house has at least 2 wires. One of the power supplies, okay, and it's blue, white and red they call it. And if you see the cables coming in to the building, they're actually blue, white and red. When you peel back the black bit, it's blue, white and red. The insulation underneath is blue, white and red. Okay? That's single phase power going into the house. And if you go and look at the electrical meter, there'll be 1 meter on the wall and it'll say 240 volts. Okay? And when you go to look at the circuits on the circuit board, they'll all be single switches by themselves. Okay? That's 240 volt. Okay? And every property has 240 volt. you also have a situation where you have 415 volt. If it's 415 volt, what it does is it has the neutral, plus it has the 3 cables going into the property. So you've got 3 240 volt cables going into your property. Okay? So when you look at the cables, there's 4 cables coming in. When you go to the meter box, there'll either be 1 meter which says 3-phase power, or you may have 3 separate meters in the older buildings. Okay, and they measure each power supply separately. Okay? That power basically is, you need 415 volt if you've got big motors, okay, or you use a lot of electricity for something. Okay, so if you've got a lift, you've got to need 3-phase power. If you've got a big ducted air conditioning system, you need 3-phase power. If you've got a commercial roller shutter door motor, you'll need 3-phase power. Okay, and you might remember that I said it's a bit of a problem, you've got to be aware of it, because you'll buy a bit of plant and equipment, bring it back to you, and move into this new industrial complex. You'll bring in your plant and equipment, you go to hook up 3-phase power and you think, oh geez, there's only 240 volt power supply. And then you have to go back to the electrical mains, the main switchboard in the development, and try and get extra power from the other circuits into your building, and the circuits may not be available. So it's costly for you to do it, and you may not be able to do it, which means you've got to spend a lot more money trying to get the authorities to supply more power to the building, so you can look into it. And the other way you know 3-phase power is when you look at the circuits. Okay, there's 3 switches, and they're linked together with a common bar. So when you flick the switches, you've got 1 bar that flicks 3 switches. Of course, you're flicking these 3 power circuits at the same time. Okay, so 3-phase power, the circuit breakers, the 3 of them are connected. Okay. Okay. So you've got to know the difference between single phase, 3-phase. How to know if you've got it, the importance of it. I'm thinking about the plumber who was telling me that he quoted for 3-phase. There was a plumber who was telling me he quoted for 3-phase electric hot water system, and he went to install it, and he said, "Where's your 3-phase power?" And the owners went, "Aren't you installing that?" Quoted to, so he goes, "Yeah, I thought it was on the switch, but I thought you had 3-phase power, I was just going to run it from your meter box." "No, well, we thought you were supplying us with the 3-phase power. But you said you were going to give us a 3-phase power hot water system that worked." So you've got to make sure that the 3-phase power is readily available to use if you need to use it. Okay, just remember I said single phase will give you hot water, instant hot water to 1 tap, and if you want more, you've got to go 3-phase. Okay. Okay. You've got to understand how the earth works as well. So, in the old buildings, you've got your earth cable. That cable, when you've got your power points, you've got your 2 angled ones, and you've got your one at the bottom of the earth. That earth cable is the yellow and green cable, or if it's an older building, it's a bare copper cable. Okay? And that goes and gets earthed into the ground. And the way it gets earthed into the ground is, in the old days, they hook it onto a copper pipe, because the copper pipes from water supply